coming up,
Andrea McLean.
Thank you so much. So when you get divorced, you lose a lot of friends.
do you?
Oh, yes. And in terms of the mums at the school gate, there was a lot of side eye. There was a lot of kind of... No one knows what goes on behind closed doors. And if people will choose their narrative about you, whether it's true or not, this is the truth about what my marriage was really like. And this is the truth about everything. And was basically told, you cannot talk about this. It's career suicide.
Today we have an incredible journalist with us. She's been a familiar face in our living rooms for over 2 decades. From the GMTV sofa to the Loose Women panel, she's interviewed everyone from Oprah Winfrey to Beyonce. But behind the polished TV career, she's navigated IVF, a very public divorce and a recent near-death experience. She's here to talk motherhood, mistakes and starting over. Please welcome the incredibly honest Andrea McLean.
Woo!
Andrea McLean.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our show.
It's so hard to know where to look when you're hearing your life kind of summed up in a paragraph. It gets you kind of sweaty palms. And you think, where do I look? What do I do? Gosh, thank you so much.
Do you not
Everyone
think
seems
to
to love the
yourself,
intros.
yeah, wow, I've interviewed Beyonce.
Yeah, and you know, when interviewing Beyonce, it was a junket, which is where you literally only get like 4 minutes or something. And this is no exaggeration. She was so beautiful in real life that it was like you walked in and you could hear...
Like what you thought when you walked in and saw me.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
It was so similar. It was so similar. It wasn't quite the tune, but yeah.
I love that.
It's more
Did
like
you
a
tell her
fart
that?
noise when you saw me. You know that audio that you get with the Titanic theme tune on a recorder?
Oh, I love that.
It was like that when you saw me. As if you've interviewed Beyonce though. That's like, that's goals,
very cool.
isn't it?
That's very
Incredible.
cool. Well, thank you for being here. We're so thrilled to have you on the
Thank
show.
you.
You're looking gorgeous.
Thank you.
Have you flown in from Spain? Because you're in Spain now, aren't you?
I've flown in from Spain.
Look
Yeah,
at
I
that.
live in
We are so
Spain.
important.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
have actually, yeah.
Have
I
you?
live in Spain now.
How is life in Spain?
It's really nice.
Is it?
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's it was exactly what I needed at the time in my life when I needed it to happen. So it's slower. It's more chilled, I suppose. I was ready for that.
Yeah.
It's good. Wasn't quite as sunny as I thought it would be.
Oh, no.
They've just had the worst winter for apparently 100 years. So
And has that stopped your partner from playing golf? I hear he's an avid golfer.
he's an avid golfer.
Yeah.
He is a very avid golfer. He actually said to me that I need to set up an OnlyFan account. And you notice the word fan, not fans. OnlyFan account for golf. And because when he comes home, I am his only fan, and I have to listen to him telling me about birdies and eagles
does he
and
do the
pars.
debrief?
Oh, full debrief.
Of every hole.
Every hole. But what he said was, if you set up an OnlyFan account, basically, mainly men would log on or whatever they do. I don't quite understand OnlyFans. And you would just go, oh, that sounds amazing. How far was your drive?
Oh my God.
How many chips did you take? Did you end up in the bunker? I think I could make some money out of this.
I think you might be onto something.
I think
And then
so.
at the end of it, it'll be like, now touch the shaft.
Yeah. Oh, no, I wouldn't care about that. It would just be, well done. That sounds like a great round. Or whatever
I
they
don't know
do. Yeah.
anything about golf. I'm like
Okay.
listening to you guys talk about golf and like the holes and like the 19th hole, which is what, the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, see you at the 19th hole.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, God.
And a bogey is bad and an eagle is good or something.
Yeah.
It's like a whole nother world. I'm
Yeah.
actually really pleased that I'm not a golf widow just yet.
Yeah.
How old are your kids now?
So my kids are a lot older, so they've all left home.
Yeah.
So we're a blended family, so we have 4 between us. Age ranging from 19 to 24.
Wow.
And my youngest is 19. And so I have the youngest and the eldest, and the other 2 in the middle. So I have the 19-year-old who is at uni in Spain, which is what prompted the move. Because I thought when she got in, we kind of looked at each other and thought, we could do this. Because we've wanted to move to the sun for a long time, but work and timing and everything, it didn't really work. And then I thought, well, there's no mum guilt now about leaving her. We'll just follow her. And she was horrified.
Oh,
Was she?
Are you literally coming to the same place as me? So we went, yeah, we thought we could all get a flat together. She's like, what? You can't. No, we're not. We're like as far away as, I don't know, Edinburgh to Portsmouth. It's really far.
yeah.
So it's fine.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was what prompted the move. So she's there. My son is backpacking around the world. So he's actually in Australia at the moment. And then my 2 stepdaughters, one is working in London, and then the other one is working just down on the south coast.
Wow. So you don't actually live with your children at all at the moment?
No.
So what's that like? Like
It's really weird.
Is it?
Quiet.
Yeah, because you spend, all these different stages of mum life. You have the not sleeping, the toddler, the school runs, the craziness, and all you want is a bit of peace and quiet.
Yeah.
All you pray for is, can I just have a wee on my own?
Yeah.
Can I actually lay in a bath without someone banging on my door?
Yeah.
And this is an emergency and I need to show you this TikTok Musical.ly thing I've made. And then they're gone. And it's the weirdest feeling.
Like when you said that, then it makes because what you just said about having a wee in peace or being in the bath, that is what we talk about.
where we
and
are
it's
now.
like, we just want to have 5 minutes. But actually, the realization that
Yeah.
isn't going to be forever is quite scary, because I thrive in
Yes.
the chaos. How did you find it, like being quiet at home?
When my son first went away to uni, so he was like the first to go, I sat on his bed in his room that smelled of farm, because boys do. I don't know what it is. They just smell of ferrets. It's really strange.
They do.
And I sat in his room. I was like, "Ooh, he's gone!" And like 10 minutes later, he turned up again. I was like, "Mum, I forgot my duvet." Oh, right, okay. And then off he went again. It was a bit like sad music. And he's back. Oh, okay. And then I kind of carried on.
So that's actually quite smart to basically, when your kids do leave the nest,
Go with them.
go with them.
You shouldn't you shouldn't say that to me and Louise, because we would take that literally, where I'll be living in the accommodation next to the halls of residence wherever my children
Do
go.
you need laundry doing? How's the sock situation?
The window, yeah.
Actually, anyone watching, please comment below. I'd love to know, have you dealt with it? Have you followed them? I love that. Just follow
Or like
them.
any tips for potentials like us that would probably be those really weird mums,
Yeah.
following them, being like, have you had any breakfast today?
Yeah.
It's like, Mum, I'm 26. It's like, I'm married. Leave me
My
alone.
mum does that to me still. She just always says like, well, have you had enough water today? I'm like, Mum, I'm fine.
Can we go back to because we love talking about labour, pregnancies, love life. Can we go back to your first marriage and that kind of the breakup and everything? Because you've gone through, you've gone through so much in your life already, haven't you?
I've been divorced twice.
Yeah.
So
your let's start from the beginning then. Your first husband.
My first husband, we met at school.
Yeah.
Oh my
I sat behind him in
gosh.
geography and thought,
Childhood
yeah, I thought he's got
wow.
lovely hair.
I wonder what you're going to say then.
I thought it was the 80s, so he'd run his fingers through his hair and I'd sit behind him and think, oh, he's got lovely hair. So we were together for 17 years.
So you got with him at how old when you got together?
17. So actually, we met at 17 and we were together for 17 years, and that's who I had my son with. That divorce was horrific. Because,
in what way?
you come to realise that actually this kind of fairy tale thing that you've been sold, for starters, and also maybe you've kind of built up in your own head, is not what you're actually living.
Yeah.
So that was really tough. And then my second marriage, that I had learned nothing at all from the first, and I made all the same mistakes the second time around.
In what way? What kind of mistakes would you say?
It's a tricky one to pick around because there's a lot that I can't say, but I suppose it would be understanding that red flags are not bunting.
Right.
That's brilliant. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's
should be
what
a
the kids
t-shirt.
say now.
Yeah.
The kids say now, oh my God, Mum, you are so naive. How did you not see that's a red flag, not bunting? So even now,
Never heard that.
because I'm quite a kind of cheery, I just take something at face value, and why would they lie? Because I don't lie. So that was my biggest
Because you
takeaway.
have talked about toxic relationships. Like, how do you explain that to your children? Are they aware of how
Yes.
toxic things were?
Yes, they are now. But I waited until, you can kind of, it's like feeding out a line, isn't it? So you give them what they're emotionally able to handle. And then also for me anyway, was very important that both my kids had great relationships with their dads, because that's a whole separate thing. And for me, it was when I felt that maybe they were becoming more aware of things, or we were able to have more slightly grown-up conversations, then I could let them know things. But again, it's a difficult one, because we talk really openly now. And I've told them everything about everything. And at least now they can make their own minds up as adults.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, for example, like my daughter and my stepdaughters, because we'll sit and chat around the table and this kind of thing, is being able to share with them some of my experiences, but also say to them, it's kind of like the no one owes you pretty. Our biggest saying, well, we have two sayings at home. One, don't be a d***. That's literally our number one saying at home, don't be a d***. If someone is acting out, you've broken house rule number one. Yeah. But that also applies outside the home. So if someone is behaving in a way that really is not on, and you'll know in yourself it's not on, have that in your head. And number two is, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. And what I mean by that is, I was always making excuses. Oh, there's this, oh, there's that. If there's one thing that I hope I've passed on to the young women in our family, it's as if someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't keep making excuses, or let them keep making excuses, or I was tired, I was stressed, I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault, all of that.
That's great advice.
If
I wish I'd known that in my 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. No. We didn't know. So all you can do is, once you know better, do better. And that's it.
And how did you find navigating like ex-partners and children, and like the dynamics around that? Because, obviously we've mentioned about blended families, but as a single woman, for example, with an ex-partner and a child, it's like, was that a turning point for you in your life, do you think? Did you find it hard at that point?
It's complicated, because obviously I had two ex-partners. Yeah. So there's a dynamic there. And listen, I was the person who my mum and dad got met and married really young and are still together. And they were teenagers too when they married. And they still like each other and still get on. So I thought that's what I would have. So for me to, find myself in my 40s, and now I'm second time divorced with two kids by two different dads, navigating all of that, and in the public eye, that's not what I thought I would end up with. So how did I find it? It was complicated. It was challenging. But to be really honest, actually being on my own with the kids was good, because my house was a loving, stable, consistent environment. And that was my main focus, really, was, I'm a very consistent person. And if I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And also if I say no, I mean no. So there was never any, please mum, please mum, please mum, please mum, please mum, please mum, until, oh my God, yes. I've never actually been that mum. And when I was a single mum, it was a lot easier, because you couldn't play you off against someone.
Of course.
Which of course they will do, but in that heat of the moment, they couldn't then, go to the other parent. And my attitude towards it was, I can settle into this. Go on, ask me one more time. Oh, ask me another time. Now let's see what's going to happen. And they learned very quickly that, if you keep pushing, this is going to be harder for you. I got all day. And I didn't rise to it. It was okay, right. This is what you're doing.
Because you're absolutely right. My kids will come to me and ask me something. I'll say no. And they go, okay. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then they're going to my husband. Yeah. And he's going, yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm like, for God's sake, I just said no. So I think that's...
It was actually simpler.
And what was it like at first? I'm thinking for anybody watching, like introducing the kids to each other. Were you quite nervous about that with your partner?
So I'd been single or been divorced for a while, and I to be honest, I wasn't interested in starting again. I thought, you know what, clearly this doesn't work for me, so I think I'm out. I'm out. So I wasn't looking when I met my now third husband, and we were set up on a blind date that neither of us wanted to go on. My friends, so we went on a double date with this other couple, neither of us wanting to go, and kind of turned out, I didn't have my contact lenses in, so I didn't even know what he looked like for the first bit. So anyway, yeah, we've been together ever since. I didn't introduce
I was going to say, was it love at first sight? But clearly not, because you couldn't see him.
Yeah. Well, it was because he smelled nice. So.
Sold,
yeah. I didn't introduce him to my kids for 9 months, maybe.
Right.
I waited a good long while, and then he was a friend who came round.
Yeah.
There was no pressure. But I didn't meet his kids for maybe 18 months.
Right.
Because he hadn't been single as long as me. And I just thought there is no rush with this. And this is it's a big thing. And I mean, do what you like, but I personally just thought you need to make sure that they're okay. So this is not a revolving door situation. And also, you know, I don't know if it's relevant to anything, but like my numbers are seriously low. I met someone at school and then I, you know, got married again. And then I've been married 3 times. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's really low. So it wasn't
you mean people that you've slept with?
Yes. So what I mean is...
She's like, listen, I'm not a slag, right? I've only slept with 3 people, right?
Well, actually it was 4, but that 4th account doesn't really count.
I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't see him anyway.
Exactly. But what I mean is, you know, people kind of maybe have this idea that, you know, been married 3 times and oh my gosh, I bet there was like a revolving door situation. It couldn't be further from the truth.
And has that been written about you in the press?
Yeah, I was going to say,
yes.
Really?
Oh, yes.
And how did you find that, having kids thinking, oh, what if other school mums read or hear or see any of that? How did that make you feel at that time?
So when you get divorced, you lose a lot of friends.
Do you?
Oh, yes.
I guess if you were childhood sweethearts with your first partner.
Yeah, they're all gone.
You've
Actually,
grown...
that's not true. Some are still there. But yeah.
Oh, gosh, you don't just break up with your partner. You break up with the whole friendship group.
Yes, you completely do. And people take sides, and that's understandable. So then when I got divorced again, I'd already been through it. So I understood it. But also the press at the time were writing a whole load of nonsense about me. And I thought, you know what? I'm too tired to explain. Those who know me, love me, and understand and know the full story about everything. And those who don't, you find out who your friends are and you find out who your friends aren't. Yeah. And in terms of the mums at the school gate, there was a lot of side eye. There was a lot of kind of, Do you know what's really funny? And I can say this now because it was so long ago. I found out what the mums at the school gate were telling me, were saying about me from the nail shop.
Are you kidding? So
I found out it was a few years later, as in sit and get your nails done.
Yeah.
And I was sitting getting my nails done in the local little nail salon.
Yeah.
Shout out to lovely Joe. Hi, Joe. And the shop was empty this time. And I'd been going there for years. And she said to me, you seem like a really nice lady. And I just feel like I need to tell you what people are saying about you behind your back. Because everyone's gossiping about you. And I can't say on here, but basically I found out a lot of truth about my ex-husband, and I found out a lot of truth about certain mums at the school, and found out the lies that had been told about me and the misinformation and all of that. And I listened to it all and I thought, wow, okay. And then I said, right, I'm going to tell you the truth. Do your magic. And I told the nail lady, this is the truth about what my marriage was really like, and this is the truth about everything. Yeah. All that stuff in the papers, it's a load of old nonsense. As I'm sitting there like this, do your magic. And that was all I did. I didn't go around telling, because what's the point of stopping classy. People and saying this, actually that. So.
But I wonder if there'd be I wonder, Hannah, what do you think? Like, there would be a part of me, I think, that I would want to kind of, if I knew who was talking about me, I'd want to set the record straight and be like, actually, that's not what happened and this is what happened. But I guess you're right. After a while, you're just like, no one knows what goes on inside a marriage.
No one knows what goes on behind closed doors. And if people will choose their narrative about you, whether it's true or not.
How long was Finley at the time?
How old, yeah?
So Finley would have been 10 and Amy was 5.
So yeah, very much in the school gates and...
Yeah, because that'd be... For me, I would find the thought of people saying stuff about me behind my back, when you're saying about the side eye and stuff, I'd find that really hard, thinking, I'll just put them in an after school club and then collect them when nobody can be there. Because that would take some serious balls to be going to the school when you know that they're saying stuff, but actually you're going, do you know what, I'm going to just remain dignified and I'm not going to go up to them and say, by the way, like, do you want to just have this out and talk about it? Because it's like, it's none of their business.
It's none of their business.
I want to talk about your motherhood journey. Tell us everything, because you also had endometriosis.
I did, yeah.
And you had a journey to become a mother. Please tell us.
So, lifetime endometriosis. And I didn't know that was what it was, because it wasn't really talked about. It's quite a recent thing that people sort of say the words really openly. And I just thought, take a paracetamol and it'll all be fine. And then when I was about 28, I think 29, I eventually went and I had a laparoscopy where they find out, and they were like, and this doctor, and I remember thinking, that's a very ill-judged bow tie that he was wearing. And he was sitting in front of me and he said, well, my dear, I've had your results in, and cysts on ovaries, only one working fallopian tube, and endometriosis on bladder, bowel, everywhere. Frankly, my dear, it'll take a miracle if you're thinking of having children. And next,
that's nice.
It was a bit like that. And I went from being a young woman who, you spend all your life trying not to get pregnant, to suddenly, oh, hang on a minute. So my first husband and I had to have fertility treatment. So I was put on Clomid.
Yeah.
And that helps you generate, all the eggs and all this kind of thing. And I was really lucky. We had tried for, I think, 2 years. Then I was put on Clomid, all the hormones, you're a bit like whoosh, all the things. And I actually got pregnant naturally. And then there was the worry of, oh my God, how many babies is it going to be? It's going to be like 14.
So you had the Clomid to release the eggs and it didn't work and then you stopped, or you had the Clomid and got pregnant straight away?
I got pregnant. Yeah. I got pregnant within a few months of that. And so that was wonderful. So I had my son Finley. And then 5 years later, four years later, I got pregnant naturally.
Right.
Which can happen.
Yeah.
It took me completely by surprise, because I was not expecting to be able to have another child.
And so reassuring for people watching and listening.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To know that, like you're told these things where it's like, oh, it's going to be a miracle. It's going to be really difficult for you. But actually it can and does happen.
And that's with one tube.
Yeah.
And then many, many years later, obviously the endometriosis got so bad that I then was advised to have a full hysterectomy. So I had a full hysterectomy when I was 46. And that's like everything is gone. The worst bit about that was I thought I'd lose a bit of weight, because you think that's quite a lot of stuff. Surely I'll get a really flat stomach? No.
Gonna have abs like slabs after this.
I know.
But did that then kind of force you into like early menopause?
Yes, surgical menopause, which is different to normal menopause.
So how does that feel? What happened?
So normal menopause is a bit like being, on a roller coaster. And it's like, ooh, how am I feeling today?
Certainly is.
It's like, oh, I think I'm all right. No, I'm really not. Surgical menopause is like you've gone to the top, and then you are screaming, plummeting downwards, because literally all your hormones or your hormone generating engine has completely gone, because that's if you have your ovaries removed, which I did. And there was a little bit of a kerfuffle, because the doctor had said, oh, are you on HRT? And I said yes. He was like, okay, that tick. Because I didn't know the amount that I was on was so small compared to the amount that I would need clearly when you have everything. So I went through the sort of phase, eventually got that kind of sorted.
And how long did that phase last for?
I would say the adjustment takes, I hate to break it to people, but it takes a couple of years. Right. Because, the initial stabilizing, that was only a few months. But then you're kind of trying to get your balance right. So I'm on now estrogen, progesterone, and what's the one I taken? Yeah, estrogen and progesterone. That's what I'm on. And then also pessaries as well, because vaginal atrophy is a thing, kids, and it's really not great. So I have pessaries as well. And I tell all my friends, go and get yourself checked out. Don't do it just by blood test. Keep a symptom checker. when I had my hysterectomy, I think there were 39 symptoms. Now they've realised there's about 104. Keep a diary.
When you say vaginal atrophy, what do you mean?
That's basically where your vaginal walls get rigid. They're supposed to be, fluid and moist and be able to expand and contract when needed. And they don't. They go rigid, which means then you end up, if you have sex, it tears.
Oh, Christ.
So then it must be really painful.
It's really painful to have sex. Yeah.
And that is part of
menopause
that
no one talks about, because people, vaginal dryness. No, it's not just that. It's atrophy. It's literally that's what.
So not only are you dealing with all of this
outsidey stuff, there's insidey stuff.
But there's insidey stuff that's causing a pain and a problem and affecting your relationship.
100%.
I read somewhere the other day that I think 75% of marriages break down during menopause. And you can totally see why. Like, even sometimes just hearing my husband chew, I want to kill him.
That's a genuine reason.
Yeah, and then if sex is painful and you're not having sex to have children, why do it?
Yeah, and if it really, really hurts, it's interesting because, so I wrote a book about the menopause back then, because I was on daytime telly and I'd had to give a reason as to why I was going to be off work for so long. And then within about 24 hours, around 10,000 women got in touch with the show, got in touch with me. Wow. And I thought, and this was back in 2017, no one was talking about it. It wasn't like it is now. So I thought, this is crazy. How come there's no information out there for women? So I had a really nice doctor who I'd got through the NHS. I was really lucky. And so I approached her and said, look, can we put a book together where you'll give all the medical stuff that I don't know, and I can talk first person so then it's relatable. And so I pitched to put a menopause book together and was basically told, you cannot talk about this. It's career suicide. What? No one will want to hire you. You'll be seen as old and past it. You cannot write this book.
An age thing came into it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I
think it's right that GPs are given like 1 hour's training about menopause in their whole medical career.
And it's not compulsory.
No.
Can you imagine if they did that about your liver? But going back to what you were saying about marriages failing. So my husband he's a coach. When I left telly and all that, the business we formed together was helping people with development and this kind of thing. So we both trained as coaches, and he's taken it and run with it, and it's now his thing, and it's what he does. But he works with men mainly, and the number one thing he comes back and tells me is that the men do not understand what their wives are going through during the menopause, because they just don't know, and they don't realize that. Just the other day, we were having a conversation with someone, and a couple that we met, and the man was saying, well, she's not the woman I married. I just want her back again. And I said, well, how old were you when you got married? Thinking, well, if it's 2 years ago, then okay. Yeah. And they met as teenagers. And I said, but practically every single cell in her body has changed since you met. So you're right, she's not the same person. But also she's been through such a massive biological change. Yeah. She will never be that woman. And the quicker you get your head around that, the better for both of you. And he looked at me like, what? What do you mean? I said, she's never going back to who she was. And actually learning to embrace that is probably a wise idea. Yeah. He was at a loss. He couldn't understand where I was coming from. I thought, how can a man get to this age and not know?
I think there's a gap in the market. I think you and your husband need to write a book for men on menopause and what to expect from your wife. Because if they understood, maybe there would be less divorces. Because
I agree, because while there's a lot of noise around it and this kind of thing, it's very much seen as a women's discussion. So great, women are talking to women. But men have gone, I'm not needed for this. So they've zoned out and aren't paying attention.
Yes. What I do with my husband is my algorithm is a lot of it can be like, symptoms of perimenopause, menopause. And I will forward to my husband certain videos. I'm like, I need you to watch this because sometimes I can't articulate how I'm feeling or what I want you to understand. When I'm having like a really kind of angry day or a low day, I feel I see him now kind of giving me space or just give me a cup of tea and he's like, are you okay? They need to know what's going on. They need to know. It's like the same when you're pregnant and all the... Because there are books for men when you're pregnant.
Yeah,
as in like true. For the dads, like, you know, you're becoming a dad. Yay, this is what your wife's going to be going through or your partner's going through. We probably should have it for menopause as well.
And each time I got pregnant, my husband said to me, I think you're pregnant. And I'd be like, why? And he'd say, because you're so moody. So he immediately understood that it was like the hormone kind of change.
Didn't you suffer from long COVID as well?
I did, yeah.
How did that feel? What was that?
The first time was... it wasn't bad. It was like a bit of flu.
Yeah.
Second time was like a bit of flu, but a bit worse. And then the third time, I literally got knocked for 6. And it was like, okay, I've tried twice now. I'm really going to whack you around the head. And it was like, I basically had all the symptoms of lupus. So I had like sores inside my nose, joint pain, chronic fatigue. My hair was falling out.
Oh my gosh.
And that lasted for months. So I went to see a rheumatologist who checked all my bloods and everything because I was showing, like I say, all my joints were sore. Wow. And they basically said, your immune system is clearly under attack. He basically said to me, I think you just need to try and not be so stressed, dear.
Oh,
and then you go,
okay.
God.
Didn't think of that.
Thanks very much.
You are worth your weight in gold, this guy.
Take a paracetamol, you'll be fine.
Take a paracetamol and that's what they mean.
Do you think this was related to in 2024 you collapsed as well, right? And
yes. So I think basically I hadn't, your immune system is, when it's shot to pieces, which mine clearly was, I got the flu like everybody does, like coming up to Christmas. Then it was Christmas Day and I couldn't get up. Poor Nick's downstairs having a little bit of turkey on his own. I'm upstairs really not feeling great. And then I collapsed. I lay there for quite a while. And then I thought, right, I'm going to need help. Our house was like a townhouse, so that I was right at the top. So he's downstairs watching telly, oblivious. I shouted and I'll do it quietly because we've got our phones, Siri. And I said, call Nick. And it's like, calling pizza. Call it. I was like, no, cancel. Laying on the floor, call Nick. And eventually my phone managed to dial him. And he's like, babe, you all right? I'm like, I'm on the floor. And eventually he came up and found me. And we rang the GP. They said, call an ambulance immediately. And I got rushed in and I had pneumonia. My kidneys had gone into failure and I had sepsis.
What?
It was that thing of, I didn't feel very well. But Nick had been told if I'd left it another day, which is what I was going to do, I was like, it'll be fine, I would have died.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I actually want to go back to your TV career on Loose Women.
Okay.
How long were you on it for?
I was on Loose Women for 13 years.
Wow.
I started as maternity cover and then stayed. And for something that, when I was first offered it, I thought, oh, no, that's that scary show where it's quite feisty.
Oh, right.
And and then I was told, no, they want you to be the host, not a panelist, because I thought I'm not very good at pushing myself and being like, I think this. Whereas I'm very good at mediating. I'm a very balanced sort of person, so I'm a really good anchor. So for something that started off as okay, I'll give it a go, I ended up, at the time, it's probably not the case anymore, but at the time I became the longest serving host of Loose Women.
Wow.
It was insane.
Congratulations.
I didn't plan it. I don't know how that happened.
Did you have any boo-boos on live TV?
Oh, of course. Like one of the funniest thing that ever happened was Seal was due on as a guest, Seal the singer.
Yeah.
And he was the last segment of the show. So there's nowhere to go. It was not like we could throw to a commercial break and then make something up and come back. It was so there's nowhere to go. It was the last segment. And I remember I'm reading the autocue. And as I'm reading, I could hear kerfuffle in the gallery. And then I heard, Andrea, I'm so sorry, they can't find him. and I'm still reading the autocue and I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. And they went, we'll try and figure it out. So sorry. And it's live and there's millions of people watching and there's a studio audience. And I could see the women were going, and being told at the same sort of time. So your brain almost has to split in two. So you're reading words while thinking, right, those words don't make any sense anymore. Where do I go with this? Where do I go with this? And I remember Sally Lindsay was a panelist at the time. And my brain, it becomes like, do you remember the Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report? Remember it had, he'd go like this, bling, and there'd be all these bits of information. My brain goes like that. And I'm like, bing, okay, right, what information do I have? Right, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant, all while talking. And I remember thinking, Sally Lindsay, vroom, her husband is in a band. He's in a band, I'm pretty sure. They supported Seal back in da-da-da-da-da. Zoom, right, that's where I'm going to go. And I just turned to, I said, and we should be welcoming Seal right now, but unfortunately he's unable to join us just at this moment, but he'll be joining us shortly. Sally, didn't your husband support him on it? And she literally looked at me and she went, yes, he played the drums in blah, blah, blah. So we talked about Seal.
Oh my God. But the producers were like,
yeah, this is why she's on here.
Yeah, this is why she's the anchor.
But it was the funniest thing because a few minutes in, and by then the women are all, oh, okay. And then everyone's coming up with that Seal anecdotes. We talked about him. Then we heard boom, boom, boom. And he's running behind the set, which, as we know, is literally made of plywood and is not as fancy as, And then I heard, he's there. It's being mic'd up. So I let whoever finish saying their story. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Seal. And the poor man had fallen asleep in his dressing room. And he woke up and he didn't know where he was. He'd been on tour. He'd flown in. Yeah, so he came on and we had like a minute with him. And he came on and was a bit bewildered. And then we said, thank you so much, Seal. And it finished.
Oh my God, he'd fallen asleep.
Well, I mean, he must have been like, when the cameras are all off and it's like cut, he just like that. Oh my God, you get this sense of like, okay, I did that.
No, I get a sense of, that was amazing. Look what we did. I loved it. Do you know what I miss the most is the camaraderie? I miss coming in the morning and saying hi to the security man on the door and saying, oh my God, has your daughter done her GCSEs? How'd you get on?
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah. And then into the cafe and how's so-and-so and has your wife gone into labour yet? All of these things, all these little touch points that you have with people. I miss all of that because I work at home alone now. I've always wanted to be a writer. It was why I literally moved to London in 1994 with everything I owned on the backseat of my mum's car was to work as a features writer. And now I do it. That's my job. But I work on my own. Yeah. So that side of things is very different.
I want to go back again to, because we love a birth story.
Okay.
And we haven't talked about your labour.
So 2 very different experiences because obviously I had 2 different fathers.
Yeah.
So first time round, I had to be induced because I was, I think, 10 days overdue.
Wow.
And I was the size of a small house. I put on 4 stone with each child, which I didn't expect. I thought I'd look like a pop star and wear like a slinky black dress with a little bump and go like that. I did not look like that. I literally had to cut the sleeves of my T-shirt to fit my arms in, and I could only wear flip-flops because my feet swelled so much. So I went in to be induced. They did all the stuff that they do to induce you, and then it was a case of waiting. Yeah. And it was on a Sunday afternoon, and it clearly was going to take a long time. And then it got to kind of early evening, and the nurse said, this is clearly, it looks like it's going to be an all-nighter. And so my husband went home because he said there was no point both of us being tired.
No, he didn't. Is that a joke or is that really serious?
That's a fact.
So he said he's going to go home and have a sleep because there's no point in both of you being tired while you're in labour.
Yes. So he went home and I was on my own all night.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so I went through, labour properly kicked in. I went through all of that on my own, and that involves all the things, the being sick on yourself and the trying to get into a bath.
While he was asleep.
Apparently he was watching football. Apparently he went and watched some telly and then
went to lovely labour he had.
And then I eventually was given an epidural in the next morning, and then he came back, and it was the weirdest thing because they then realised my son was in distress because they did that thing where they stick a thing up you and they clip the top of their head and they get a little reading. Yeah. And I had the band around me monitoring his heart. And his heart rate went from, that it went, and then it became like an episode of ER or Casualty, depending on what country you're in. And I was rushed to the emergency room. And this is a surreal bit. I'd had my toes painted because I thought it's the only bit of me that, I'm going to be able to see while I'm having a baby. I may as well have. So I'd been for a pedicure just before, not shellac, normal polish. You have to have your nail polish removed if you're going in to have anything like that.
Yes, they can see the colour of you.
One of my memories is literally being rushed down this corridor, and they gave my ex-husband this wad of cotton
to take my nail polish
off. And he went like this, sideways. And I remember like, oh my God, what are you doing to my feet? And it was literally all my nail polish being wiped off. And I got rushed in, and I had an emergency Caesarean. And I don't know what happened with the anesthetic, but it went from being my tummy to my chest to my neck, and I was paralyzed from the neck down. And of course, when you've not had anything like that, you don't know that that's wrong. But I remember the screen was up, and they're doing all the things, and they pulled him out, and he didn't breathe at first, and he didn't make any noise, and they sort of whisked him away. And there was that awful thing of your baby, as you've seen it in the movies, your baby's supposed to come out and there's a smack and then there's a scream, and there was nothing. And they pulled him out, and they're rubbing him, and then they got the whole vacuum thing up his nose, and eventually he cried. And everyone kind of breathed out. And they took him away for a little bit just to sort of check him over. And then I realized I couldn't breathe because the whatever it is that they give you, was it the epidural? God knows, I don't know. Came up to it, and it felt like someone was sitting on my chest. So I'm lying like this, and I kind of like that, and tears are running into my ears. And I turned to the doctor man next to me, the person who's crouched down by the side you hear administering the anesthesia. And I said, I can't breathe. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, it feels like someone is sitting on my chest. I can't raise my chest up and down. I can only get little breaths. And he went, oh my God. So he starts twiddling with buttons, and I was literally paralyzed from the neck down for hours and hours. And they just said, you're going to have to just wait for it to, ease off.
That's frightening.
It was horrific.
That's awful.
And so you could only move your head?
I couldn't even move my head, literally.
And so when you usually have a C-section, are you able to move arms and everything?
Yeah, you can move your arms and everything. Because obviously they will give you the baby afterwards and put you on.
And you couldn't do that?
I couldn't do anything. I was literally like a fish on a plate.
That's horrendous.
It was horrible.
I would have really appreciated some kind of post-birth trauma therapist to come over to the house. You know how the midwives do when after you've given birth and someone comes round, and maybe this is the thing, I don't know, but I would have really appreciated someone to sit down, go through my notes and go, so this is what happened. If you choose to have another baby again, would it happen again? We don't know. When I did, and it took me a while to want to have another baby again, but there are some women who've had such a terrible time that it puts them off having another child. And you think, had you got the support that maybe you needed, maybe you would have had another one. It's just interesting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. I think knowing what I'm like, I would have probably gone, oh no, I'm fine.
Of course you would have done.
And
you'd be like
you
this.
Did.
Yeah, you did. Several times. And then I collapsed. I had sepsis. I had pneumonia. And I thought, you know what? I'll be fine.
I only lost the one arm.
85% in one lung. It was fine. I was going to cook a roast the next day.
In 2019, you had a breakdown, but you were still on live TV, just being a trooper. And just talk us through that. Like, how did you do it?
I mean, that came about, and I have a much greater understanding of why it happened when it happened, and it came about because I did SAS Who Dares Wins. So do you know that show?
Is that when you did the bungee jump?
It wasn't a bungee. It was backwards falling out of a helicopter, not attached to an elastic band. It was that.
That'll do it.
Yeah, it was that. But that wasn't the moment. It was other bits and bobs that happened in it, and there was certain behaviours on that show that triggered certain memories,
right? And
that I'd pushed down and hadn't wanted to look at, and all this kind of thing, and I couldn't push them back down again. And I got home after going through that, and I realised it was like was like the bats were out the box. I couldn't get them back in. And so I kept trying and trying and trying just to carry on as normal, but I did not feel normal. I now know that's PTSD, that it's literally a trauma response where everything that you've just kind of experienced, put a lid on, dealt with, you know, stayed rigid, held it together. It's years later, something happens that all the emotion that you put a lid on at that time comes out and you don't know what to do with all these emotions. And that's what happened to me.
Oh my God.
And so I was working and I could feel myself. I was not myself at all. And I could feel, it's like I was short circuiting, because normally I'm able to go, right, come on, pull yourself together. You know, I'm quite a, you know, robust person. Yeah. And I couldn't.
Wow.
And it was the weirdest feeling of I couldn't. And to be honest, I had a fairly hideous experience where I was basically told, you don't seem like yourself, and it's been noted, and you have 2 weeks to pull yourself together.
You mean
was this on Loose Women?
Like producers?
Mm-hmm. You have 2 weeks to pull yourself together because you're not being yourself, or else basically your job is in jeopardy.
Rather than saying, has something happened?
Are you
Can
all
we
right?
help
Are you all right?
How
Yeah.
can we
Wow.
support you?
Yeah.
It went the other way.
It went the other way.
Andrew, I'm so sorry.
And so I did. And I don't know how I did, but I literally thought, right, I need this job.
That fight or flight.
Fight or flight. And also, you know, I love the job and I need the job. So I did. I literally put a mask back on in terms of I'm great, pull myself together. And after that 2 weeks, they were like, oh, so good to see you back again.
And at that point, had you
Oh my
told
gosh.
anybody how you were feeling? Did anybody ask you why?
No.
You might not have been yourself.
So you didn't get any help?
Right.
You were just told to just
No,
deal
but
with
to be
it?
fair, I didn't ask for it. So I just went, okay, and went home, pulled myself together and did. But after that, and once I knew, right, okay, my job is safe, I went and got therapy. And it was after that I went and got therapy and unpacked, why am I feeling so strange? What is this thing? And then that's why it was explained to me that literally the bats had flown out the box, and it's kind of like your body is reliving everything that you'd been through, but held it together.
Any regrets going on that show then that kind of triggered the bats flying out the box?
No, changed my life. Best thing I ever did. Everything that has happened to me in my life, good, bad, ugly, I am so glad for all of it.
Absolutely.
Even the most recent thing, which was literally our business folding and we lost everything and we lost our home, which is, you're looking at me like, what?
Really?
Yes. So even that happening,
And that's been fairly recent.
that was because I got COVID and got so ill. I couldn't work anymore. And I'd left Loose Women to run my own business. And I couldn't work on the business because I got so ill. And because we'd funded it ourselves with our own money, we ran out of runway. So we had to shut the business. And we lost our home. We lost everything.
Right.
We literally lost everything. And it got to the point where we were selling furniture to go to Tesco's.
Yeah.
That's how it got.
Oh my goodness. And but you have no regrets with that, and you've made peace with it.
Yeah. So a big part of that time was, right, what can I do to make money? And then I got asked if I would be interested in maybe putting together a media training package for a female entrepreneur in her community. No one had ever asked me to do anything like that before, and I thought that's a really interesting idea. So I then created a media coaching business. So I started another business and I was able to work at a pace that suited me. I did so much stuff on Zoom and online, literally looking nice from here up and in pajamas from there down.
And slippers on.
And all of that.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. I made a good living out of that, but I was still recovering. And it was while doing all that I then ended up with pneumonia and sepsis.
You've had a life.
Do you know, and that's how I see it.
Yeah.
You know, what's the joke? That you don't want to get to the end of your life and go, well, is life half lived? You want to skid in towards the pearly gates going, well, that was a ride.
Yeah.
And I have.
I've had a bloody great time.
But I have. And I've had all these incredible challenging times and all this sort of thing. But I don't regret any of it. I've written an amazing book called Shameless, which is about reframing all the shame that I've felt about everything we've touched on here today. I realized I was carrying so much shame about relationships that have failed, parenting, the side eye by the mums at the school gates, the things that I may have got wrong. Obviously, what it feels like to fall from such a massive height where you are literally part of a daytime institution. You've worked on daytime TV for 20 odd years, and then you're literally reduced to selling stuff to do a Tesco shop. That's such a crushing, humiliating, embarrassing experience. I got to a point where I thought, no, I refuse to be ashamed by this, because actually I haven't done anything wrong. No. I made some mistakes. I made maybe some business choices that I shouldn't have done. And hindsight is such an incredible thing, but you don't know that at the time.
Well, you didn't know there's going to be a global pandemic, did you?
Did not know that.
What advice would you give to any parents who are going through a hard time, whether it's relationship falling or
financially,
business?
I think the first thing would be, don't do as like a parent, don't do as I do as I say. And that would be ask for help so much sooner than I did. Speak up. And that's either whether you're struggling as a new mum, whether you're struggling as a mum of young children, please say something to your friends. Don't just bottle it up. There is help out there if you reach out and ask for it. Make the call. It's hideous, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, but oh my gosh, you feel so much better once you've done it. So it's that. Say something.
Say something. Great advice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to No Parental Guidance so you're always in the loop. You can now watch us a day early on YouTube every Sunday.